What's going on, everyone? Today, 52% of the S&P 500 closed down in the red, and the market is a little bit stuck right now. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the important trade war updates we got today and how they are going to determine where the next big move is. We also have the data center company Applied Digital, ticker symbol APLD, going into rocket mode and surging up 48% on news that they have a nice deal with a hot AI stock that I'm sure a lot of you love. On top of that, even gold and silver prices are moving very excitingly right now. So Tom, let's not waste any time and let's get right to it.
Yeah, the SPY actually made a pretty good recovery move today as it started to break out above $590 and $591, which was the high from Friday. So that was a pretty good move to see, especially at the end of the day today. And overall, I thought that this morning was actually a bit negative. The SPY started opening up, it gapped down very slightly, and we had this drop off to around the 585 support. Initially, very early on today, Mike, there was actually a lot of worry about China, and there's been a lot of focus obviously on the U.S. trade war situation right now, not with China, but with every single country. And one thing that the U.S. is really pushing right now is that they want everybody to bring their best offers to the table by Wednesday. And I think that this is actually a really good thing that they're getting this going. Of course, it's been a long time since the whole tariff and trade war situation has started to unfold, and there hasn't really been any deals made besides like with the UK. So maybe they'll get something going here in the short term finally.
Yeah, like we remember, Trump announced that 90-day pause on all reciprocal tariffs, which basically brought everyone's tariffs down to 10%, except for China, to allow some time for negotiations. But like you said, the only trade deal that we actually secured was with the UK. I know the market rallied mostly on hopes and dreams with the China trade deal news, and I think Trump is definitely starting to face a little bit of pressure externally and internally here, because just last week we saw, a handful of courts tried to block his tariffs. That ended up getting rejected, but I think Trump really knows that he needs to make some moves soon. So I'm very curious to see how these trade war offers end up coming in quite literally in 2 days from now. Now, I'm very interested to see what Trump does next, and I think he's really assessing his positioning right now. And if we remember, on Friday, Trump basically accused China of violating their preliminary trade agreement, and there have been more tensions between the U.S. and China lately. Like, again, recently, Trump announced a lot of restrictions on semiconductor software design companies, and he also revoked visas for Chinese students. And China basically came out today and said, look at you guys are violating the trade deal, and they basically said we're happy to respond firmly too. So we'll see what happens here, but it's definitely heating up quite a bit, and any trade-related stuff with China moves markets so much. And if you can't tell that just by looking at recent market movement, take a refresher at look at what happened in the market at the end of 2018.
Yeah, and I thought it was awesome last week how those courts struck down the tariffs, and the market loved that initially, and the market flew up, and the SPY almost hit $600 a share on that news. And then the very next day, obviously news came out that Trump would be able to get around it, and then that appeals court ended up striking it down anyways. But I thought that definitely had a lot of momentum there, and there was a lot of movement that came in even just from that. So if we start to see some good deals this week, that could definitely be something that we start to hear a lot more about of. And Mike, regarding China specifically, President Xi and Trump might be meeting this week. I know that they keep pushing this. They keep saying very soon. They did say not today. Now, somebody that was anonymous ended up saying that, but either way, we were hearing a lot of people in the administration saying that Trump and Xi are set to speak very soon. And I would think that with this Wednesday deadline and everything like that, that we might actually see something come sooner rather than later. So just be ready for this week. And the main thing right here, Mike, is I know that you've been mentioning that the SPY was a bit stuck here in the short term. I want to see a good push and move to get us out and above that recent high around $599 and finally get the SPY back up to $600. I feel like it's been stuck under this level, and as we can see zooming out the past couple weeks, it's just been really flat in this big range here.
Exactly. And like the writing is on the wall. We know that there are going to be big developments with this US China trade situation very soon based off all the information we saw, but also with other countries as well. And as we know, this is a tariff driven market. And if this news that is about to come out ends up being good, it can be the rocket fuel that SPY needs to get back above that key $600 level. But at the same time, if it's bad, it's going to hurt. So basically, like, we know there should be some pretty solid moves here soon. Let's continue to pay attention to the news, and we will keep updating everyone on this situation as it unfolds. But let's definitely keep our eyes open, especially for that Trump-Xi meeting. But while all of this is happening, there has been a lot of money flowing into safe haven assets still. And Tom, gold and silver are really taking off. I know they're not as exciting as, like, you could say Bitcoin, but this price action has been great. And then also, gold has been outperforming not only just a lot of other stocks, but also the market as a whole. Year to date, it's up over 25%.
That's pretty crazy. Like GLD at the beginning of 2025 was down around $244 a share and then ran up to highs of $317.50 just about. That's like a 30% jump there out of GLD, the ETF. So I love to see it, Mike. We're seeing some great moves here. And if we actually go to GC or gold futures where the chart doesn't look quite as messy, there has been a pretty good trend line going on in the short term. And we can see that gold is starting to break out of that short-term trend. Even in the short term, it was actually consolidating right on this trend line before that breakout today. I was actually really worried that we were going to see a move to the downside off of this trend and the downtrend continue, but I guess the strength continues with gold, and I guess with all the trade fear and everything, I can't really blame people for getting into these safe haven assets. Silver really surprised me today, though, up 5.3%, and there was just a handful of gold and silver related stocks that were on fire. BTG's probably my favorite. It was up 6%, but even if we look at GDX, one of the best gold mining ETFs, it was up 6% as well and is actually breaking a major resistance on the daily.
Gold and silver have been two underrated areas of the market. They're definitely worth keeping on the radar, and it makes sense to see them rising. There are a lot of real risks, not only in the stock market, but also the economy right now, and there's a bunch of money all over the world that wants some safety for multiple different reasons. You know, government deficits keep getting worse and worse. The stock market certainly, has its, risk to it, especially at this price, and, I think it says a lot how we're seeing money flow like this. Silver was up 5% just today, and plus we have this big trade war situation going on too, so it should be interesting. And on top of that, I did see some very interesting data where basically the number of articles mentioning gold has crossed above 90,000 for the first time since 2022, and articles on gold have surged by 40,000 just over the past 5 months or so. So we're seeing not only the price moving, but we're seeing more and more people talk about it and pay attention to it. And as we saw throughout 2020 and 2022, the last time everyone was looking at gold and they were getting all the news article attention, it just makes prices move that much more explosively.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the mentions really do rise there whenever gold starts to get up to around highs and it starts moving in such a good and explosive way. And I'm really loving that short-term price action with gold and silver. I do think that it's something that has gained a lot of popularity. I know a lot of people were actually looking for Bitcoin to kind of replace gold and silver, but I don't think that that's going to be necessarily happening right now. We look back at Bitcoin today, it was down a little bit, like 0.81%. It's been pretty strong in the short term too. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not any gold whenever you go to a daily chart. Mike, it almost looks like we're looking at a penny stock here. It's pretty insane to even talk about.
Oh, you want to talk about penny stock type price action? Check out ticker symbol APLD. So basically, this is a data center company where they build and operate what they call next generation data centers and infrastructure for them. As we know, AI and cloud computing and everything in that technological industry has been exploding over the past few years, and realistically, it's not going to go away anytime soon, and we need data centers to power that industry. Basically, APLD APLD popped up by 48% today on news where they entered into two around like 15-year lease agreements with CoreWeave, ticker symbol CRWV, which is an AI company. And under these agreements, essentially Applied Digital is going to be supplying power to CoreWeave, and essentially they're going to be doing this through their Ellendale, North Dakota data center campus. And this is actually believed to be one of the most ambitious data center developments currently underway in all of North America. So either way, Applied Digital expects to bring around like $7 billion in total revenue from these leases, and the stock is loving it.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those stocks in the short term that's definitely getting a ton of hype. And, it's actually entering into an agreement with a company, CoreWeave, which has been getting a lot of hype as well. We talk about some great movement in the short term out of some of these AI companies. CoreWeave has been enjoying some great price action of their own ever since hitting the market, moving up well over 100%. I can't even believe to say that they came on the market around $40 a share, rose up 232% over the past couple months. So definitely keep your eyes on APLD, though. They are the main one moving from this news with that 48% pop. And as we zoom out on APLD's chart, we can tell that whenever they start to get news and they start to run, they can run up for multiple days to weeks at a time. I know that we look at this quite a bit with companies like APLD that do run with news, but it is striking to see how sometimes they will pop and go on those huge multi-day continuations, and that's really where the opportunity is. So keep your eyes on APLD tomorrow. If we continue to see some good price action like what we saw today, there could be good opportunity. And Mike, I will say one great positive I saw was that it had a really good close where it held up above $10 and didn't really fall back down below any key supports or anything like that.
You beat me to it, Tom. That was my next point. It had some really great price action intraday. It had that big pullback right at open, but realistically, it held up very well. And like you said, it had a very strong close. So we know the stock's in play. We know it'll continue to have big moves. Of course, no one knows if this stock will be green tomorrow, but we know that it has good price action and good momentum. So definitely keep it on the radar, not only for potential plays tomorrow, but honestly for potential plays throughout the rest of this week and potentially even over the next few months, given the nature of the situation here. A 48% move in one day is nothing to ignore.
Definitely not. It's a crazy stock, and there's been a lot of crazy stocks in the short term, and one of them is Tempest AI, and Tempest had a pretty crazy move today. It popped up 15% and moved off its $52 support very well here, as they have a handful of developments with their health technology, which is pretty good. That was some great news, but I know that in the short term, there's been a lot of negativity with them, as there was a short report that came out against them, and a lot of people are actually looking at that short report and kind of bucking it off right now. So that was a good piece of news for them as well. So they ran up 15% here with the combination of news, Mike. And hey, Tempest is back in the headlines. And if they start to get towards their recent resistance and high, close to $70 and start to break out, it's going to be looking pretty good for old Nancy P again.
Yeah, Tempest has been such a volatile and strong moving stock, not only in the short term, but honestly over the past year or so. Like you mentioned, it definitely was on the radar for a potential breakdown, but this news came out today and really brought that bullish momentum back into play. So definitely keep it on the radar for potential plays tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week, because it definitely is in play. Tom, do you have any key levels on this one for tomorrow?
Yeah, more specifically tomorrow, it is running up into some pretty big resistance in the short term, and I think that this is a very crucial level because it's right where this stock started selling off with that short report last week, right around $65 to $66. And more specifically, I would say $65.80 to $66 is right around that overall resistance. So if we start to see a good breakout past that tomorrow, I think that you could actually watch for a move up towards 70. We could probably see a move up to that nice psychological level there, but that would be best case scenario for tomorrow. And of course, they do have news. They are in play. So just watch for that resistance, though. It's definitely a crucial level for them.
Awesome. And then, Tom, we can't forget, we have a pretty exciting week ahead of us, especially in terms of the economic schedule. So for tomorrow, we do have some JOLTS job openings data set to release 30 minutes after open. So keep your eyes out for that. And then as the week goes on, we'll have some ISM services PMI data. And then towards the end of the week, we have a very exciting jobs report with non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate set to release 1 hour before open. This will realistically be the biggest and best economic data event of the week, but don't discount tomorrow's event either. So keep that in mind. And then we even have a handful of pretty exciting earnings too.
Yeah, definitely. The earnings lineup gets exciting towards the end of the week. For tomorrow, we do have Dollar General and NIO before open. Those are two pretty popular stocks. CrowdStrike is very popular as well, so watch them in after hours with Asana here. On Wednesday, we have Dollar Tree, but Thursdays where things really get fun with AVGO, DocuSign, and Lulu. So keep your eyes out for the earnings this week as we go forward. I will say, though, since we're in like the economic side of thing and the schedule, don't forget about Trump this week either. You know, we're expected to see some pretty big things, whether it be between some of the deals that Trump wants to see come to the table by Wednesday, or whether it's with China.
No doubt. This is a Trump-driven market in basically all ways. But looking at the market for tomorrow, Tom, what are the key levels and analysis you are seeing for SPY tomorrow, and what are you seeing on the charts?
Yeah, it had quite the rip today, and I thought it was really good to see how it got through some really good resistance in the short term around 590 and 591. So getting that clear breakout today was pretty awesome. Now, I will say we're not totally in the clear yet. There is a pretty big level here on the SPY, right where it's been peaking and having some price action around 592.75, even up to like 593.20. We can see where there's been a couple of touches on the left side of the screen where SPY has reacted here. It kind of slowed up at the end of day today, very close to that. But I'm really watching for more of a breakout and push up to around 595 and then even up to around 598 to 600. I think that's ultimately what we could see if we do see like some positive trade deals or some positive announcements start to come out and hit the news a bit more. And we can see a couple weeks ago, the more that we zoom out, how crucial that 595 resistance that's overhead will be if the SPY ends up ripping. If the SPY does push up tomorrow, that will be somewhere that I definitely watch for a potential like reaction or rejection at. So just keep that in mind. I thought today, though, it was really good to see the SPY power higher. I am watching and still am worried about key SPY support in the short term. If we do see 584 breakdown, I think there could be an opportunity playing it down to 580. So I just want to make everybody aware of that. I know we talked about it yesterday, and that's something to still watch for this week in case the price action does shift and turn around a bit more.
Awesome. Well, great stuff there. We will definitely keep all of those levels close in mind. And besides that, let's jump right into some setups and predictions. And a stock that is definitely on my radar is ticker symbol CLF. This is basically a steel company, and as we know on Friday, Trump basically said that he's doubling the tariffs on steel imports to 50% from 25%. CLF loved that news as the stock popped up by 23% on the day. CLF is definitely on my bullish radar. Right now, it did hold that support right around $7 per share pretty well. All support and resistance levels are naturally areas rather than like ultra-specific price points. I would like to see the stock stay above this area. Let's say we gave it some wiggle room down to like that $6.90 mark. Considering the stock is at $7.20 right now, you have like around 30 cents of risk where in a bull case where the stock can strengthen, I wouldn't be surprised one bit to see the stock get closer to like $7.80 or even $8 per share in the short term. And if the momentum continues to develop, I could definitely see the stock going even higher, like to like $8.30 or maybe even closer to like $8.50 throughout like the next week or two.
Yeah, that would be awesome to see this great continuation in the short term. I really do like that $7 support, though, and the risk reward is definitely very promising on CLF. And with it having news here and a catalyst, I think there could be some good potential continuations, at least in the short term. But with my first play, I'm looking at BTG to the upside. Very popular gold stock in the short term. It's up 6.8%. They did post a high of day today around $3.65, and they never really were able to break past that. So if we're able to see a good push above 365, then watch BTG to the upside. We can see on the daily chart, BTG is starting to break out above some very key resistance levels that this stock had been stuck under for quite a few months.
Awesome. Yeah, it has some really good moves. It's definitely on my radar as well, and it's closely tied to my next setup, which is ticker symbol SLV. I love this setup, and I've been talking about it for too long at this point, and basically SLV is gaining some great momentum. It follows silver prices. It's getting so close to that like $32 area, and it is moving with some nice momentum. We had a recent big money play on this one just a few weeks ago, $3.5 million into the $30.50 strike call options. that expire on September 19th. There's a lot of reason for money to be flowing into gold and silver right now, given the risk that we have in the global economy. And I'm really liking this price action, so it's definitely on my bullish radar. While this setup doesn't have to go up tomorrow, SLV is one of those stocks that, has really good moves over the course of like multiple days to weeks to, in some cases, months at a time.
It's about time that SLV is back at this crucial resistance. I've been waiting for it to get back and start to break through this previous high close to 31.80 to 32. So I'll be watching for this one very closely, Mike. It's been a very fun setup and just stock to watch as time has went by. But with my next setup, I'm watching NVIDIA potentially back to the upside here. NVIDIA had a really good close today, and I thought it was actually awesome to see how they held that 137 support as well. And if we go over to the Bookmap, the thing I am concerned about in the short term is $140. This is a major resistance where there's 711,000 shares stacked up. So if we do get like a good break above the high of day today, close to like 138 or even like 138.20, then go ahead and watch for this one up to like 140. You could maybe catch a good $2 move there. I know it might not seem like a lot, but to options, you could catch a pretty good run there. Nonetheless, NVIDIA does have a lot of good short-term price action, and it's pretty interesting to see it turning around after it had quite the earnings pullback last week, that's for sure.
There we go. All right, Tom, well, we are all clear for today's momentum plays then. And with the first one, we have Navitas Semiconductor, ticker symbol NVTS, to the upside.
NVTS, if they can break the high of day right at $5.65, then watch them up.
All right, with the next one, we have Ionic, ticker symbol IONQ, to the upside.
Yeah, this one's pretty wild in the short term. There is that opening candle from today that extends up to 41.05. So if they can break through that, then watch them up.
And then with the last one, we have Archer Aviation, ticker symbol ACHR, to the downside.
Yeah, Archer with the unfortunate pullback here today. If they can pull under $9.68, just under that 970 double bottom from today, then keep watching for them for more downside action.
Sounds good. So keep a close eye on these three stocks for potential continuations tomorrow if and only if they break through the levels listed. The stronger and more consistent these stocks move, the better the setup becomes. But as always, prioritize protecting yourself first when trading volatile stocks. Keep those stop losses tight, and in the worst case scenario, you can always re-enter. But besides that, Tom, we are all set for today's $750,000 big money trade, and we are looking at ticker symbol INDA. For those of you who don't know, INDA is an ETF that follows Indian stocks, and today the trader bought the 56 strike call options that expire on July 18th of 2025. Again, $750,000 went into this trade. This trade is a little bit far out of the money, and the expiration is somewhat soon. So basically what the trader here is expressing is that they are trying to profit off of like a big move somewhat soon. This ETF has done very well over the past few years, and it's still uptrending, but the rate of the uptrend is slowing down a little bit. And basically, as we know, the Trump administration has been hinting at more trade deals coming soon for some time now, and India has supposedly been close to actually reaching a trade deal with the U.S. for a while now too, but nothing came through yet. So maybe the trader here is, anticipating this news, or maybe they have some, beneficial information that can cause the breakout and push this stock needs. We'll see what happens, but it's very interesting either way.
Yeah, and this stock has actually been stuck here at this resistance around like 54.50 to 55 quite a bit. I am kind of watching it in the short term very closely. If we do see some trade war news, I think that's definitely what could drive this one. It is a short-term play, so I guess if you're looking at maybe the big money knowing something like Mike said, then you could maybe take a stab at this one. It could get a little bit risky in my eyes with it being the 56 strike. I think it's a little bit far away, so I will say that there's a little bit of added risk to this one compared to some of the other big money plays that we look at. But with the trade war situation, it would be pretty funny if we do see, like a deal happen here within the next few days, or even like within the next couple of weeks. And it would definitely have me scratching my head at who ended up entering this one. That's for sure.
No doubt. And if you guys are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. But second of all, consider obliterating that subscribe button. If you'd like to get our videos recommended to you more often. It takes us hours to make these videos every single day. We cover basically everything you need to know about the stock market, including, some nice bonuses as well, like daily SPY levels and analysis, big money trades, hot stocks to keep on your radar, important earnings, economic events, and basically everything you need. So definitely consider subscribing so you can hear from us more often. And we also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Peach Mango in the StockedUp Discord, who had some pretty nice gains today with ticker symbol APLD, just under $500, which is awesome to see. So huge shout out to you, Peach Mango. Keep on rolling. And besides that, if you guys are into short-term trading, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below to get access to the StockedUp trading floor. This gives you full access to our army of trading robots. Today, our Surge bot hit it out of the park with ticker symbol TEM as its call options popped up by just under 300%, but it also had some really good moves with APLD, ZS, Meta, DraftKings, and others. Of course, there were some duds mixed in as well. You also get full access to our daily big money trades, all of our new features, weekly live events. You can chat with Town and myself all day long, and it's a place to be if you're into short-term trading. We still have coupon code Big Money still active, which allows the lowest price possible for the yearly plan, so make sure to check that out. But besides that, thank you so much for watching, and let's crush it in the market tomorrow.